Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are so happy to have you back with us today on Incarceration to Incorporation. We have two guests that's going to really be a blessing and a benefit to returning citizens. What do we do on Incarceration to Incorporation? We provide a platform to change the narrative, that narrative that has been misrepresenting returning citizens for so long. We want people to see that we are not coming back and we are not raising the recidivist level. We are breaking it down, reducing it, if you will, because many of us are successful, whether it is business, education, employment, organization, or family. So that's what we're here to do today. And we're going to let you know that there are opportunities for you. Today's show, we're talking about great opportunities for returning citizens, the pathway home. I have my co-hosts with me, Marie Jones and Julius Hall. I think Julius will be dipping in and out. AB, the brainchild of Incarceration to Incorporation, and Julius Hall, the platform that he has given us, all things relevant media, for us to be able to share that when a debt is paid, it is no longer a debt. What's going on, Marie?
Hi, everyone. How you doing, Paul? Hi, Opollo. It's good that you two are on the show tonight, giving this great information that everybody's looking forward to listening to tonight. So I'm so happy. So Paul and Opollo, take it away.
Well, I would like to give Opollo the floor, since his introduction to me is kind of what landed me here in this situation and inspired me to become far more involved in reducing recidivism and reducing negative government interactions. So, Mr. Johnson, please take it away. Tell your story. Let the people know about the greatness that you are going to be achieving once you do what you do best.
Thank you, Professor Wilson. I appreciate that. The professor is too kind. He has been a bulwark and a foundation and a firm supporter of myself since the very day that I have met him. But that being said, my name is Opollo Johnson. I spent almost 19 years in federal prison for a nonviolent drug charge. During that time, I was able to earn a social sciences degree. I was able to earn a certification in mediation, and I took advantage of every opportunity that the FDOP offered during my incarceration. One thing the federal prison system does is it provides jobs for the people interned or incarcerated in it. And during my time, I worked in the education department. I also, in my last 2.5 years, worked in the textiles business. I was housed at Yazoo 2 Medium Facility Program. And what we did was we made BDU camouflage uniforms. So if you see any member of the military wearing the new multicam camouflage uniform, it was made in either Yazoo, Mississippi, or Alabama, which another federal facility, our sister facility, they also make these uniforms. And we provide uniforms for the entire United States military as well as the NATO bloc. Right before my release, we had just closed a $3.2 million deal to provide 186,000 BDU uniforms to the United Arab Emirates. What I did in Yazoo, Mississippi, I was a quality assurance clerk. And so I had to follow the items as they came into the factory in their component pieces. So that means thread, buttons, zippers, bolts of cloth. It was during this time and in this position that I gained an understanding of supply chain management and logistics. So much so that I was just enamored because I was required as an inmate to read contract, to even measure the size of a pallet that goods were shipped on in order to make sure it met the United States government standards. Our parent organization was called CTG Clothing and Textile. During, again, these 2 years, I did all of these jobs, and it just made me realize how important logistics and supply chain management was to our country and society as a whole. Another thing was that I would often hear people talk about Savannah, Georgia. I'm from Savannah, Georgia, and they would often talk about how the port was integral in bringing in all of these goods in order to be assembled, completed, and then shipped back out. So upon my release, March 2nd, 2021, I went to the halfway house, and about 45 days in, I knew that I wanted to get educated in logistics and supply chain management. So I started to fill out the paperwork in order to attend Savannah Technical College. There were some hurdles, there were some pitfalls. I think we covered that. And the last time I was here, the staff at the facility was not the best in facilitating my goals, dreams, or desires. But eventually I did find my way to Savannah Technical University and in the office of Professor Paul Wilson. The first day I met Professor Wilson, he embraced me, he listened to my story, and from that moment on, he became a friend, a confidant, and a mentor, as well as an educator to me. And he expressed his desire to help returning citizens reintegrate after they paid their debt. And he, again, has just been the man who has opened my mind, taught me to think critically, and really provided a network for me to expand and grow and develop as a person, and as a professional. I am currently he is the head. Let me stop and tell you a little bit more about Paul. He can explain more about himself, but he's the head of the logistics department at Savannah Technical University. He is a dynamo. He is always on the go. He bends over backwards, forwards, sideways to help his students get through, learn the business of supply chain management. I am a testament to that. I would not be where I am today if not for his encouragement and his teaching acumen. Recently, his department was granted the Department of Labor grant under the Pathway Home grant. And he is reaching out to help other returning citizens learn marketable skills so that we can not only reintegrate, but also be proud of the life that we are building for ourselves and contribute to society. People don't know, but logistics and supply chain management encompass every iota or good and service in this country, whether it be a roll of toilet tissue, whether it be a bottle of water, whether it be the child's toy that you get for a birthday, entertainment console. All of this is delivered to your front door in most cases these days through supply chain and logistics management. And Professor Wilson is a master of this field.
May I ask a question? Now, with the grant that is given, is it only for supply chains and logistics? So if I want to take a nursing class or a medical class, I could not with that grant money?
Well, currently the grant is actually for the entirety of TCSG's education system. It's not just ours. It's actually a predominantly small grant for our university, and most of the funds have already been allotted to different program ventures such as VR training, hands-on training for programs that we may not have enough instructors or may not have enough talent in that field to justify a full course for. So we'll use VR as a decent supplement for hands-on training in some of our courses. But it currently is already kind of spread out and claimed by most departments within the TCSG system in most schools. It's not just our school at Savannah Tech, at the White Bluff campus. It's the entirety of Savannah Tech, the school, including Crossroad campus, all those guys. And then it's Ogeechee Tech and Atlanta Tech and Chattahoochee, and everybody gets a piece of that grant. And it's very small for the designation which is being authorized for, which is usually what comes with grants in the first place. However, the idea of reducing the recidivism rate, or what I like to call removing the prisonification tattoo that comes with everyone who steps out of the incarceration system. With everyone who steps out of the incarceration system, does not depend wholly on a grant by any means. Right. It is something that I am pursuing really on my own at this moment for the sake of the community and to offer something personally back to the world that has given me so much and so many opportunities to do great things. Anybody who's known me has always known that I have been highly involved in a lot of the justice system and advocacy around subject matters of that sorts. I have been very active in the community of people who watch the watchers, police the police, because I genuinely and honestly believe that our incarceration rates, our incarceration epidemic is a twofold problem. It starts with the system. It starts with society as a whole and how we mentor and how we raise people and how we, in some instances, discard people afterwards. And I believe wholeheartedly in removing that abandonment complex that we end up creating just via, whether it be subconscious negligence, whether it be wanting to see the person try with all their determination and grit to claw their way back up and pay their dues to society. Prison in itself is a hellhole, and it's already a due in itself that you've paid. So why am I paying a second round? Mr. Johnson.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Because you said those who know you. Well, many of our listeners may not know you. So, what I would like for you to do, because you have scratched the surface, if you will. So, if you would tell us a little bit about where the passion came from, why was the passion directed towards returning citizen, and what are some of those things that you have been a part of?
Okay. So, I used to want to be law enforcement.
Okay.
I was highly interested in that idea. I believed in the justice system. I believed in policing. I even wanted to go so far as being a Fed. The FBI was my overall penultimate goal. And when I was about 17 years old, I had a situation that arose with a death in the family, and I had what could be considered a catatonic stress collapse of sorts, where it was overwhelming for me as a child trying to deal and grip with the ideas of death. I ended up in a situation where I was interacting with the police and having a mental health emergency at that time. And instead of the police being able to approach it with the decorum and respect for someone who is having a mental health emergency, they did what we know sometimes they do best, which is overreact and over violate and becoming a victim of police brutality.
Wow.
Essentially. And the police officer afterwards apologized to me and said I did not have to do that. I'm sorry, because he received issues from his commanding officer to do what he did in that moment. And it kind of broke the veil. It tore the veil. It broke the glass. And it allowed me to see the imperfections in the system. It didn't make me hate the system. It didn't make me hate police. It didn't make me do any of that. But there was room for improvement. There were things that needed to be fixed. The watchers needed to be watched. So I ended up getting involved in a lot of communities that did just that. It's the auditing community. It's known as, in some circles, watching the watchers and others. And what you do is you kind of establish legal precedents, try to teach and inform police officers via interactions, by doing benign, non-illegal, law-abiding activities that are usually clamped down on by the police simply because they know no better out of ignorance. One of the things that is a common hostile interaction is filming the police. That is a very common hostile approach. Police officers still have an aversion to the one tool that we can use as citizens in this nation to level the playing field. And that is one of the very greatest ways to test the resolves of local police municipalities is by recording and watching their interactions with other people and documenting arrests as well as interactions with other civilians. If the police in that scenario start to become hostile, you already know that the training or the environment and the culture that they've grown up in isn't sufficient. So that's kind of where the passion comes from. It's from seeing all those situations, seeing a lot of the unjust side to the system of justice, ironically, and realizing that a lot of the things that we have as people to deal with from the police are inherently morally reprehensible, wrong, and need to be checked. On the flip side, here we go again. If that's the case, then it's time to take a critical evaluation of some of the members who ended up in prison in the first place. Opollo Johnson came to me with his story, and I was beyond infuriated because the man spent 19 years in jail for something you can legally do in Washington now. And right then and there, it was kind of like, okay, I got a mission now. Whatever it takes, your butt is going to do great things, and you are going to help this community, and you are going to prove the system wrong. And part of my axe to grind, I'm sorry, you've become my mission shield, but that is one of the biggest things that upset me about Mr. Johnson's story. At the end of the day, he was a businessman serving clienteles and customers who had a product in which they wanted to buy that they, as consenting adults, chose to partake in. And due to overstepping and I want to say Karens, but I'm not sure how politically correct that is, and soccer moms out there who were too busy crying, he got 19 years in one of the worst systems that you could ever get caught in, period. And I feel like the system did him a disservice, and it made me want to rectify that to the best of my capabilities as someone who wants to give back to the community as an educator, because more importantly, Mr. Johnson showed me the determination and will to ascend to the next level. See, in my classes, before I prioritize logistical understanding and knowledge over supply chain management, I build professionals, because what a lot of corporations and a lot of companies are looking for is from people who are stepping out in the workforce or people highly skilled in soft skills and discipline. So my base foundation for my program is building up that discipline, creating those soft skills, fostering the mindset that goes along with it, and encouraging the will to win. So when Mr. Opollo said, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Paul.
Okay. So when Mr. Opollo came into my office the second time we had talked and asked me, all right, Professor Wilson, let's cut all the malarkey. Let's sit down and look at what exactly you want me to learn from this program. What is going to benefit me out in the field? He was one of the first students to ever ask me that question. And a lot of people take that as someone trying to take a shortcut, and I take that as someone being smart enough to work smarter, not harder. He knows I have specific information outside of what the school wants to teach, outside of the TCSG common core competencies and standards, outside of what the industry says. He knows there are certain things that I have utilized to become a success in the field, and he wants to learn those on top of everything else. And he wants me to prioritize the information that's already prioritized in my head. And he asked for that. I didn't have to tell him about it. I didn't have to inform him it exists. He asked about it. Simple things like that will get you a million miles ahead in any industry anywhere, because you are looking for a way to redefine and create, not just follow. And that's what I'm building. In my programs, above and beyond logistics and supply chain management industry, I am building leaders, I am building creators, I am building innovators, I am building critical thinkers. I teach people how to learn, not what to think. And that means that sometimes my classrooms get heated. People disagree. People have opinions. They have their own mindsets. It's crazy. It's this insane idea that we're individuals and we have the right to free thought and free ideas. So in my classroom,
wait a minute, right there, because while you're talking about your classroom, what we want is we want as many Opollos as we can get. So remember, as you're speaking, relay these practical, simple, I guess the best word I want to say is solutions for those who are listening right now that say, how can I be an Opollo? How can I be a part of what you got going on? How can I come to your classroom? But by all means, continue weaving your story.
Okay. Well, to answer that question, more often than not, stop asking yourself the question and just try to do it. We often get caught up in making plans. We humans fall prey to that on a regular basis. Yes, Bruce Lee did at one point in his life say that plateaus were the ways to advance to greatness. But he also said you got to punch first. And in that same semblance and that same mindset, more often than not, we sit there and we think. And we think and we plan and we think and we plan. Well, you're not going to be able to ascertain for every action and every reaction to what you're doing. I talk to so many people who come to me asking about building a business, and their first response is, well, I haven't bought a business license yet. I haven't done this yet. I haven't done that yet. I haven't done the other. Just start out by buying the license and making the name.
Right.
Start there. And then once you do that, once that happens, follow the next step that comes along. Eventually, you'll develop foresight from experience and understanding. But more often than not, the best lesson I can give to anyone listening to me right now is just take the step. Stop saying, just do.
Right.
All right.
Because that is what's going to change your life for the better. You will never make strides in the gym by talking about how you're going to run on the treadmill for 30 minutes. You got to go run on the treadmill for 30 minutes.
You got to run on the treadmill. That's right. You got to run on the treadmill, Paul.
Yes.
I like
that. Listen. Linda is watching with us. Linda Scott, she understands. She says, yes, First Amendment audit, and she gives you applause as you continue to do what you're doing. Mike Kelly says, thank you for this platform. And this is the platform where returning citizens are primarily the audience so that they can understand that there are those who are in our corner. Donnie Black says, hello to all of you. He's watching. And also Sierra Campbell is also watching along with others. So here, I know, Marie, you had a specific question that you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I had already asked the question, Miko. I asked him, like, if I want, he said that the grant money was distributed throughout the different schools for Savannah Tech, right? St. Leo's wouldn't get that money, right, Paul?
Right. No, I'm sorry.
No,
I can't give my alumni nothing. I don't know, y'all. What you talking about? Stop trying. See, y'all always trying to get some money every year. There's 15 different. You know what? Get out of here. Y'all already got like a six-figure number from me. Expensive.
Let me say.
No, all respect. I love St. Leo. I would not be here where I am if it wasn't for that institution and all the professors who supported me. So let me start off by saying thank you to all of you. You guys had my corner. You had my back. Even in the worst of worst situations, when I had my worst days, there was tolerance and acceptance. There was a lack of rigidity and the ability to mold around who I am as a person to help me grow. And I've taken a lot of that approach that I've learned from St. Leo and in my classroom as I've stepped into the level that you guys have. So now I can understand how much of a pain in the butt I was to y'all.
And I'm testament to that.
So,
but Paul, you know what so you're a professor now. I always
yes.
I always knew you was going to be a professor because he's very like you, Opollo, you are very smart. You understand? And Paul, me and Paul have engaged in conversations a time or two. So he's very, very smart. And I'm so glad that, congratulations with you being a professor at Savannah Tech.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very, very good.
So here I have a question.
I appreciate that.
What are some of the classes or programs? Explain to us a little bit more about the welcome home, the pathway. Explain a little more about the pathway to home, and then tell us some of the classes or programs or degrees, certificate. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Right. Well, right now I am currently still working on creating which program will be the end all be all. The idea is at the end of a 2 years associate's degree, which is what I believe you should have to accomplish in order to receive this treatment, this gift, etc., whatever we want to call it. At the end of your 2-year degree, you will receive recommendations, strong recommendations to the judicial system, specifically the Superior Court, to expunge non-violent offenses that can be expunged off your record so that you are able to be looked upon as yourself rather than everything that you supposedly or everything that you did do before you developed into a different person. Because I genuinely and honestly believe that you should have the right to have distance between the sins that you've committed and the greatness and the good that you're going to give someone else. Yeah, I don't want that to drag over.
Okay, so Paul, you said the misdemeanors, right? You're going to send over to Superior Court.
More non-violent offenses. I'm not sure. I'm still working on the logistics of how that plays out.
Right, non-violent. Okay, because you can have a felony and have a non-violent offense. Because Opollo had a felony, which was a non-violent offense. Okay, so you trying to okay.
So it's not just misdemeanors. If I can swing the power to pull a felony off your record, I'm gonna do what I can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I can. That's what I'm working on now. But as of this moment, it's a lot of the legal system takes a while.
Yes,
That is the understatement of the century. They take forever. They can be real quick about taking everybody's money.
Yes.
You know, they will be on time with that, but everything else, no. We're going to take the long, slow country Sunday drive through the mountains, up and down, pass and go, and pass in jail. Yeah, you know what? I need the judicial system to do a bit better. That's what I need.
Yes.
I think that's what we all need.
Opollo, let me ask you a question, Opollo. As a returning citizen, when you came to Savannah Tech, were you welcomed? Did you feel received? And because you were preparing while you were in prison, do you feel that helped you to catapult to where you are now?
I knew what I wanted, but even as a returning citizen, there were hurdles, barriers, bumps in the road. When I got to Savannah Tech, the administration and registrar's office bent over backwards to help me enroll. Once I was enrolled and I knew what I wanted to do, I wanted logistics, I wanted supply chain management. Once I was introduced to Professor Wilson, doors opened, ears were listening, assistance was provided, and I am a part of the Savannah Tech community. I wear my lanyard with pride. I walk across the campus as a member of the campus. I can go to Professor Wilson's office, and if he's not working on something related to the field or helping another student, his door is always open to me. His phone. Earlier this summer, was riding a bicycle through Forsyth Park, coming from Brighter Day, where I was working as an assistant manager, going to the Federal Halfway House. I was talking to Professor Wilson 9 o'clock at night, explaining to him that I had just gotten off. I'm riding a bicycle back to the halfway house, but I'm one of his students and I'm interested in the class. And he said, "What?" Professor Wilson, you remember this conversation, correct? It was back in June.
Yes, I do.
And he was like, "Look, you can call me anytime. You can email me anytime. My door is always open to you. Listen, welcome." And from that moment forward, I was a part of the community. Economics is the great equalizer. You cannot compete in this economy until you are really skilled and have something to offer.
That's right.
Professor Wilson taught me the definition of an opportunity cost, where you give something up in order to gain something, but you still lose what you gave up. I gave up 19 years. That was the opportunities that I lost. But I'm here today, and under his mentorship and his leadership, my future is as bright as it's ever been.
Opollo, may I ask a question? Had you not gone to prison, I don't know if Miko asked this, but had you not gone to prison, would you think that you would be going to college, taking up logistics? Would that be a field that you want had you not gone to prison?
No, to be honest. Before in my life, I had gone to college and dropped out after a semester to chase street dreams, to be an illicit businessman. And that's the truth of it. It was an easier route.
Mm-hmm.
It provided more leisure time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the educational regimen. I wasn't forced to think critically. There was a certain low cunning involved. I could be clever, but I can honestly say that Professor Wilson, among my professors, has taught me to think critically and challenged me to think critically, to think
Mm-hmm.
outside the box, and apply that outside thinking inside this field. So, you know, honestly, I don't know where I would have been. I have lost too many friends. I have too many friends that are unfortunately deceased. Good guys, great people, but the life we were living has a shelf life.
So, Apollo and Professor, I have a question for both of you. Professor, I want to ask you first, and then Apollo, I want to ask you. But I'm going to tell you the question, Apollo, so you can be prepared. The question I want you to answer is, because remember, we have returning citizens that are listening and that feel hopeless at this point, that feel like, I can't get where I'm trying to get because of thus and so. I want you to tell them how education has opened doors for you, and then tell us meticulously some of those doors that have opened, but not right now. That'll give you a chance to get ready. Professor, what I want you to do is I want you to tell me, because there are those that are listening that are from the community as well. And too often the community is ignorant of policies that goes on in criminal justice field, be it criminal reform or what have you. What I want to hear from you is the mindset that you are displaying one that is prominent in the academic field among other college professors, or are you like one in the bunch?
Among my peers, yes, sir, it is. But I will say there are professors that have become dogmatic, not just against people out of prison, but people they vehemently disagree with. I believe.
Well, we lost him. While we're getting him to come back on, you can go ahead, Apollo, and you know the question right out.
Again, I was fortunate enough to earn a social sciences degree during my 19 years in federal prison and a certification in mediation. That at least gave me a foundation when I came home that I could pursue my passion, which is advocacy, mediation, and criminal justice reform. It gave me the credentials so that when I walked into a room, although I might not be a PhD, I might not be a master's, I do have an understanding of what's going on. And I also have something more important, which is real life lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I can recall during my tenure at Ohio University, when some of the papers I would write, I would get grades and I would get letters on the side and the margins written by my professors, and they would just be amazed at my understanding and outlook. And I was one of the only students in several classes. I was the only student who was incarcerated. So I remember the first time I took an English course and they were attempting to place me in a remedial course, and I vehemently disagreed. And I said, well, if I'm going to pay for a course, I'm going to take the course that everybody else is taking. I don't want to take a remedial course. And she said, well, you're in prison and it might be challenging. And if you feel like you can't do the work, hurry up and let me know so I can put you in a remedial course. I ended up with an A- in the course. And my advisor at the time, she emailed me back and she said, in hindsight, I want to apologize because I had very low expectation for your ability to participate here. And I want you open my eyes to some prejudices that I had for people locked up. And from that point forward, she became one of my fiercest advocates. And so when I went into the sociology program, she was like, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, Opollo, I'm signing." Yeah, she told the dean of the sociology department, "Hey, he wants to do this, he can do it." And again, I made some very good friends. I have professors that I'm still in contact with at Ohio University. I'm an alumni, and they reach out to me all the time via social media, via LinkedIn, because they're just so happy to see where I am now that I'm free. I work with Deep Center. We with Mr. Campbell. We're life navigators, and we have the most precious responsibility I think there is. We have 10 young men who we are responsible for shaping, molding, and helping navigate their way through adolescence in the criminal justice system.
Great. Now, Opollo, what I want you to do while I and Marie talk to our audience is text Professor and tell him to try to come back in. We're waiting on him.
Okay.
While you're doing that, Marie, I want you right now, because you are out there and you see what's going on as it relates to our young people, as it relates to returning citizens, as it relates to the difficulty in getting a job. And one of the reasons is because they're not able to sell themselves, or because they are not able to produce whether it's certificates or high school, the GED diploma, or what have you. So what do you want to say as it relates to education at this point?
Just like Professor Paul was saying, Miko, a lot of times they have to go and apply. Savannah Tech have GED classes. If they don't have their GED, they can go take the initiative to go get their GED. And I'm talking about like as far as 16 years old, Miko, they can go and apply at Savannah Tech. But you have to take the initiative to go to the school to apply. And it's a lot of grants out here for, and the GED class is free. And it's a lot of grants out here that will help them. If they can't get grants, they can get school loans. So they just have to take the initiative to do it.
And what I think that does is that helps us change the narrative, because so many people are ready to pounce on the returning citizen when they come, not giving us that chance or the benefit of the doubt that we have changed. I often like to say we may have started out wrong, but now we have the opportunity to finish strong. And the common denominator that's on the screen right now is each of us are coming home from prison. We are returning citizens. And so I am definitely blessed to be able to be working alongside both of you and the network capability that education has afforded me, just as it has Opollo. I hope that those of you that are listening right now, if you are struggling, whether you came home 10 days ago or 10 years ago, if you are struggling, we encourage you right now, get up and try to get your education. If you have your GED, try to get you a trade, because I want to read something to you that I found as it relates, and Opollo, you can attest to this. I found this in relation to Savannah Tech, and it says, let me read it here. It says, our graduates are hired quickly. Savannah Tech, it says Savannah Technical College have training employers want for jobs in demand. Within 1 year of graduation, 99%, it's 99.1, but 99% of our graduates are working or are continuing their education, and 96% are working in their field of study. And our graduates make more money. Now, I like this part. Our graduates make more money, according to the Census Bureau, than those, with an associate degree than any others. What are we talking about? If you want to excel, then I encourage you, along with my peers here, sell yourself.
Sell yourself.
Get you some more training.
Learn a marketable skill.
There you go.
Yes.
Take it over, Apollo. Tell them some other things that you got going.
When we say education, we don't mean just opening a book for the sake of a book. I just got a message from Professor Paul. His phone overheated and shut down, so that's what happened.
Okay.
And I'm letting him know that we're waiting on him as soon as possible. But again, when people say education, most people confuse this and say, well, oh, that means books for the sake of books. No, it means learning a skill. More successful people come out of the trades field than out of four-year colleges. I had the good fortune to meet a gentleman who, with a 2-year degree from Liberty Technical University, the Liberty County Technical University, sister university of Savannah Tech, he works in mortuary science. He's an undertaker. He's 24 years old and he's making $100,000 a year. Now that might not be a vocation that you're interested in, but learning a skill that you can then take out into the workforce, people pay you for what you can do. They pay you for what you know. So if you know HVAC, if you know how to repair an air conditioner or a heater, people will pay you for that. If you know how to repair small engines, if you know how to use machinery, most people who work on assembly lines graduate with at least a diploma or a technical certification from a 2-year college.
Miko, Paul say he's here. He put, I'm here.
Okay, so we got him coming in right there.
All right.
Perfect. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I apologize for the disconnection. The car was hot. It overheated me and the phone. So the phone cut out. I had to get situated in my office here in the house, but I'm glad to be back. I'll let you continue taking it away and jump on in when it seems appropriate.
Well, go ahead right now because we're nearing that stage where we're getting ready to do conclusions. So you remember the question that was asked of you as it relates to your peers and the mindset. Go ahead.
Okay. So on my hallway in my institution, that is very much the case. We have a lot of open-minded, understanding professors, educators, and instructors, even if they don't hold the same beliefs and values that me or yourselves or others may hold. I believe the university system is its own monster. There's a lot of dogmatism that currently exists in the university system on both sides, from all world perspectives and views, very militant mindsets that are not good for learning. We as educators, we as teachers have the objective and goal of giving you a choice, offering you knowledge so you are able to make your own independent choices. And that's not up for debate in my purview. That's my job as an instructor. I inform you, I let you know of what is, I let you know of what can be, I let you know what I believe is and can be, and I make that distinction too. I don't misrepresent my opinions as facts, and I allow you the burgeoning and growing intellect that you will become or already are to make your own decisions. I have enough trust and faith in your capabilities to see you do with what you will with the information you receive from me and from others, because that is what you do as an academic. That is what you do as an intellectual. You take several pieces of information, several points of view, not just one, and you critically think and analyze your way through to a solution, which is usually more often in the middle than people care to admit or realize. So I genuinely believe in my colleagues and a lot of the technical colleges and a lot of the college level institutions, but I will make a distinction that I do find that a lot of universities have become far more ingrained in the business of teaching people what to think rather than how to learn, and it is a problem.
Great, thank you. Now, Paulo, because as we get ready to transition, we want you to speak, both of you, to the audience. Opollo, I want you primarily to speak to the returning citizens, and I want you to motivate them and move them and stir them to where you are now. But Professor, I need you to speak to the community. You said as we started from the beginning that you were key in trying to help with policies and also watch the watcher, if you will. Well, I want you to allow us to understand the community. What can we do to help change some things, whether it's prison reform or criminal justice reform? What can we do as relates to the community to get them on board to do something? So you start first, and then Opollo, you come behind and you encourage our returning citizens.
First and foremost, I want to say step up and step out. Get involved. Be closer. I know 2020 has taught us different about that idea. And I understand that we live in a very divisive and divided society. That's a part of the problem. That's a part of the problem. We as a community know each other better than anyone else can. We're here. We often depend on the actions of people who don't even know we exist to allow us to survive and thrive, and that is no way to operate. When it comes to the reform of anything, when it comes to the ascension of your next door neighbors, your towns, your friends, your family, you have to pick up the gauntlet. You have to get involved. Okay. Captain America picked up Thor's hammer, not some random Joe Smo to do it for him. That's what you have to do.
Right.
And that is what's going to help us step forward. Don't forget, while we are fighting for communities, while we are fighting for groups of people, we also have to remember the individual. The individual is just as important, because if we don't have an individual, then we don't have a group. Every person has a place, a role to play, a thing that they can do, a way they can assist. Somehow they can do more. It's up to you whether you want to do it. Right. I'm out here fighting because I believe in the good fight. If you do, then step up and step out.
Opollo?
I want to say that he's right. You got to step up. You got to actually step into the arena and fight the fight. We all know that systems were built to make opportunity uneven. Yeah, we get that. But what we're doing is we're working to deconstruct the foundations of mass incarceration. That's my vision. That's Professor Wilson's vision. He, like me, believes that economics is the great equalizer. Once you bring a skill to the table, nobody can deny that, because you can actually do something. You can actually contribute something. The urgency of now is now. We're not waiting till tomorrow morning. We're not waiting till next week. We're not waiting till the first of the year. Professor Wilson has encouraged me and inspired me to do what I need to do every day, to organize myself a little bit more, to get on my square a little bit more. He knows, or he should know, that I take what he tells me and I analyze it and I try to apply it. Again, the system invests billions in proven failures. We know that the penal system is a proven failure. Well, they've given Professor Wilson and the technical system in Georgia $4 million for the entire state. The question is, what comes next? We're asking you to come out, enroll. use the FAFSA, use the work source grant, especially for returning citizens. Get a certificate, get a diploma, earn a 2-year degree if nothing else, start a new career and contribute. Your contributions will sustain you. They will give you the pride and the what's the word I'm looking for? They will give you the pride as well as the financial due diligence that you want in order to walk through society and know that you matter. All too often, the system tells us we don't matter, and that you have no redeeming qualities. Well, guess what? When you can do, you know how to do, and you have that diploma from a technical college in Georgia that says you've put in the work, undeniable. And I want to thank you for the platform. And I want to thank Professor Wilson for all his contributions, his support to me. Marie, Julius, thank you both.
I also, if I can, take a moment to give a quick shout out to my colleagues on the hall. I wouldn't be where I am right now without them. While my logistics program is bumping, we've got so many great programs. Here we go again. Every time. one final time, huh? One more. 3 is the magic number. First and foremost, to Susan Pinkston, she is the department head of management, and her program is bumping. She is where it's at. If you want to learn how to become a consummate professional overnight and understand the business world, she is the lady to go to. We got George Irwin running our marketing and hospitality departments. This man knows the ins and outs of everything that is a vacation. So at minimum, if you want to reach out to him to learn the next best destination, give him a call real quick. But I promise you, you'll learn a couple of things too about what it means to work in a hotel, what it means to be a part of the dining experience, what it means to elevate your game in those worlds. We have Miss Riley, who is currently the head of our cybersecurity department, which is a revolutionary department teaching people how to understand how to protect themselves and how to protect their organizations from ill will doers on the internet. We've got Tony Beck, who currently runs our accounting department, and accounting's boring. So is logistics. Just the straight up truth. You either love it or hate it, but that man will figure out a way to make you love it regardless. So, and we've got so many other programs. If I missed anybody, Ms. Primus with our barbering program, Chef Greer with culinary, and the list goes on and on and on and on. All these people are out here making moves to develop the newest, the latest, the greatest, with all passion and all love in their hearts. We at Savannah Tech seek to take care of you and give back to the community that's given us an opportunity to do so much. So please, I want to thank Dr. Morris, who is the DPAA, for bringing me on board, and my direct supervisor, Dr. Deborah Geiger, brand new out the gate, but she is rocking it and killing it and doing the greatest she can do for all of us. And I appreciate everyone who serves on my hall for the betterment of this community.
Listen, we got Sharon Gomez. She says, I have that. How can I help? At this moment, I want to get those that's in the studio. My wife is in the studio right now. I want each of you, Opollo and Professor, give us, or you can write it in the chat room as well, your contact information so that Ms. Gomez and whoever else that wants to either A, help, or B, get help, put your information in the chat so that they can contact you. And you can always contact myself at Julius at deepcenter.org, Julius, Julius, at deepcenter.org. And also you can see us on Facebook, Julius Hall, All Things Relevant Media. So right now, go ahead and put your information in the chat. Marie, Ms. Gomez just gave us her number. We will write that down and we will get that to you because I don't want to put her number out on the air like that. So Marie, you see it?
Yes, I see it.
Go ahead and write that down so we can.
I already did.
And Marie, go ahead. What do you want to say as we get ready to
So
conclude?
I want to say, if you are a returning citizen, all this great information that you have heard tonight, do not allow anything or your mind to hold you back. Take the initiative and go to Savannah Tech and apply for school to get what you need for yourself. Do not allow your thoughts to hold you back saying, I'm a returning citizen, I can't do it. It can be done. Opollo is a living witness of it. Julius Campbell, and so am I, Marie Jones. It can be done. So take the initiative, go to the school.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And we will be looking forward to talking to you again. Those of you, I see you, Sharon, go back and say she knows Julius Hall well. As we get ready to go, we may have started out wrong, but we can finish strong. Make sure that that's what you're doing, whether you are a returning citizen or a relative of a returning citizen or resources. You can finish this thing strong. Let others know what we're talking about. You can share this on Facebook and YouTube. It's on right now. Share it so that we can encourage as many as we can. Sharon says, in closing, I am a returning citizen. I live in Texas. So, man, we're reaching out. She also worked at and studied at Savannah Tech as well. So we will be meeting with you guys again later. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next Friday. Share this thing.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.